people. Okay, here we go. Here I'm gonna jump right into this because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but in the past few days, it's been a whole lot of buffoonery. I take that back, buffoonery and coonery jumping off here in the United States. And the first culprits here. It's like a little buffoonery going on in Washington D.C. because you had this so-called young black leadership group that went over and met with Trump the other day in D.C. Shall I say the D.C. dunce. And I mean, man, if you look at the video for 2 minutes, for 30 seconds, it'll turn your stomach, man. It will really turn your stomach. You talking about a bunch of people, man, that are acting like total 1930s blackface minstrel fool, buffoon, coon, tap dancing minstrels. I mean, it's really embarrassing, man. It's really totally embarrassing. They just jumping up and down and we sick massa. I mean, it's real terrible, man. It's fucking terrible. Where's your pride at? Where's your pride? This man's done everything he could possibly do to further the white supremacist cause here in the United States, and you're gonna sit right there and kiss his ass, man? Come on now. That's one ass kissing buffoonery. And then the second buffoonery you had in the Amber Geiger trial. I mean, the buffoonery and the coonery involved in this trial was so deep. I mean, from the top down. I'm talking about the judge, the bailiff, and the brother, the family member of the person who died. Now, I'm going to start with the judge. Now, the judge in this particular trial, it did everything that she could possibly do to derail this trial. Everything she could possibly do. So right now, with all the things that she has done, it's a real good possibility that this trial is probably going to be thrown out, and they're going to have to retry Amber Geiger again because she broke too many protocols. First of all, you're supposed to be neutral. You're a judge. You're not supposed to take sides on anything on that level. The judge was literally hugging the person that she just sentenced. She gave Amber Geiger a Bible. She didn't follow the guidelines by giving the jury, throwing some stuff out to the jury before they went in to deliberate about a law that didn't even apply to this case. Just say like it's sort of like a stand your ground law that you can use inside your own home. She wasn't inside her own home. She was in somebody else's home. So that didn't apply in this case. So basically what the judge did was derail the whole entire case. So if Amber Geiger's lawyers file an appeal, most likely she's going to get off and they're going to have to retry her again. Let me move on to buffoonery number 2. Bailiff in the case was grooming, combing her hair, Amber Geiger's hair in the courtroom. Now, she didn't have a comb or a brush, but she used her hand. She was using her hand to smooth her hair out and brush her hair. She did it for about 5 minutes. Just brush, so I was asking, I said, well, how many defendants that have been to court in this particular courtroom that were not a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed cop did this bailiff do that for? And, hey, I'm thinking none, probably zero. If any sisters came in there that, looking a little rough around the edges, they've been locked up in the county jail and their hair was messed up, I guarantee she probably wouldn't help them. So that's buffoonery number 2. Buffoonery number 3 has the internet blowing up right now. And that's the brother that sit there and end up hugging Amber Geiger after the trial was over with. And man, I've never seen anything that weak in my life, man. That was so weak. That was really weak. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to make friends with the enemy. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. So now, that's all the coonery and buffoonery. Now I'm going to go on to the tricky part along with this Amber Geiger case. So now she's been convicted, so-called 10 years or whatever, but she probably won't see a day. Now you have the witness, Joshua Brown, that lived in that same building, got killed the other night, got killed Friday night. No witnesses. The only thing they said what they saw was like a silver four-door car fleeing the scene. Silver four-door car. I'm gonna allege that it could have been a cop car. They riding around in four-door cars all day long. So it's like, okay, they have a $100,000 reward out for any information or anything that would lead to the conviction of the person that killed Joshua Brown, and that's one reward that'll never get paid, because especially if it was somebody involved in law enforcement or a Klan member that probably did it, or some white supremacist that ended up going to shoot him because he testified against a white woman in court. So that's that. And telling you, man, he's gone. He testified in court against the white cop. Now he's dead. A couple of days later, after the trial's over, not even a couple of days. So I'm gonna move on to my feel-good story. It's semi-feel-good. It's feel-good in the sense that the guy's getting justification or some kind of remedy here. And this was a young man when he went to jail. He was a young man when he went to prison, and he spent 27 years wrongfully convicted. He was 27 years of his life behind bars for a murder he didn't commit, and he had just won a $27 million settlement and $1 million for each year that he spent in prison. A federal court jury awarded Mark Shan, 55 years old, the amount of $27 million on Friday after he'd been sentenced to life without a possibility of for shooting Victoria Seymour in 1986. The mother of three was caught in the crossfire in a rift between drug dealers, Charles Stokes and his brother, and two other Massachusetts men, Anthony Cook and Michael Holston. Shan, who was wrongfully identified along with several others, was a witness telling police he was 50% sure that Shan was the gunman. 50% sure. So the Stokes brothers also identified Shan as a shooter, although one of them recanted his testimony 3 years later in 1989. New evidence was considered by a judge in 2013 after it was uncovered by an innocence organization, and he was freed. However, unhappy with being put in prison for no reason over a quarter of a century, he decided to take action. Shan went on to sue the city of Springfield and four other police officers, believing they violated his civil rights. The lawsuit against the city was dismissed and is currently awaiting appeal, but the case against the officers, who are all retired, was allowed to go ahead. Elmer McMahon, Leonard Simmons, Raymond Muse, and Michael Reed were accused of giving unduly suggestive evidence when the case went to trial, when Shan's legal team had no choice but to rely on. Even Shan's lawyers were shocked to find that he was awarded $1 million for each year of his life in prison. Heather McDevitt, one of Shan's attorneys, said, "We are 27 years of a person's life worth." That is a very interesting philosophical question. Shan isn't counting on getting the money anytime soon after being let down time and time again. After a series of laboring jobs, he now runs his own smoothie business in New Britain. And he said, after all this time, this is the first time there was some acknowledgement that someone had done something in my wrongful conviction. Someone was responsible for it. And that was almost better than the monetary damages. So, man, he got awarded $27 million. But it's a possibility that he may not see a penny of that money. But congratulations anyway. Congratulations to Mark Shan. 27 years of suffering.
Time for the news, baby. Time for the news, baby. It's time for the news, baby.
27 years.
Time for the news, baby.
27 million. I hope he gets it.